Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I started doing a series that Drawing with Waffles did called the... Okay, so I'm editing this audio right now and look what happened to it. It's called the Alphabetical Order series. The Alphabetical Order series. It's the Alphabetical Order series. Don't know what happened there, but there we go. And pretty much if you don't know what that is, you go through the entire alphabet and you pick a character whose name starts with each letter, and then you draw that character, and you just keep going. I'm pretty sure Drawing with Waffles made this challenge. I don't know who else did it, but I'm almost 100% sure that she created it. So if you haven't seen her series, you should definitely go check that out because she's an amazing artist. But yeah, I am finally bringing you the second video in this series. Now, I will leave the first one linked if you haven't seen that one. You don't need to see it to watch this one or anything like that, but this is a video that I've been meaning to make for so long. So pretty much like with my YouTube schedule, I'll have the entire month's videos planned out before the month even comes. So for example, it's August right now. I had each video that I would be posting in August already planned out. And then it's not September yet, but I already have each video that I want to post in September ready. Like each week I know which video I want to post. And it's not a set in stone sort of thing, but every time I had planned this video, something else came up where it's like I wanted to record another video, and then it would be the only time I could record it, or I would just got really excited for another video, or whatever it is. I've been meaning to post this video for like 3 months, so it's finally here. So for the letter B, I picked Blue from Pokemon. If you are a subscriber to my channel, then it is absolutely no secret that I just adore Pokemon. It's a big part of my childhood, and I don't play video games a whole lot, but Pokemon is one of those games where every single year I'm keeping an eye out for news, and Sword and Shield are coming out, which are the newest games, and I'm super pumped for those. I am a huge Pokemon nerd. Like, the way that typical gamers are with their games, and they just get really invested in it, that's me with Pokemon. Like, I'm so attached to the Pokemon and the worlds and the characters. So yeah, you can expect a couple more Pokemon characters to be popping up throughout the series. I don't want to do too many, so I'm probably just going to be doing the ones that mean a lot to me, and Blue is one of them. If you are unfamiliar with Pokemon, here's like the basic formula for a game. You are a child, roughly 10 to 16 years depending on the game. I would say on average you're about 11 years old, and then you have a rival who's a character the same age as you, and as you can probably guess, they are your rival, and so you're always like fighting against them, and they're trying to like be the champion like you, and it's just something that's in every single Pokemon game. Sometimes you'll have more than one rival, but in most cases you have one rival, and Blue is the original rival. In the anime he was Gary Oak, but in the original games, he's blue/green, depending on where you are. But he kind of like set the standard for rivals, and he's a fan favorite rival. And he's one of my favorite rivals. A lot of the newer Pokemon rivals have been a lot more friendly. If you're a Pokemon fan, I'm sure you know. And a lot of people want to get back into this sort of rival where they're just a jerk. And Blue is definitely one of the ones that was a big jerk. And yeah, he's a part of a lot of people's childhood, and he's definitely a big part of my childhood, so I just really wanted to draw him. I actually had a difficult time deciding on which version of Blue to draw, because, again, if you don't really play Pokemon, there's a lot of different versions of different characters. So there's the original Blue, which is the Blue when the games first came out, and then those games got remakes, so there's that Blue, and then there's also Blue that appears in different Pokemon games, like in sequels and stuff. I decided to draw Blue from Heart Gold and Soul Silver because I feel like if there's any one Pokemon game that's just like unanimously loved and considered by the fans to be the best Pokemon game, I feel like it would be Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I definitely liked them a lot. I remember getting them when they first came out, and I just absolutely fell in love with them. And yeah, in the post-game, you can go back to the Kanto region, and Blue is the 8th gym leader instead of Giovanni, and this is what he looks like, so I thought that that would be a great one to do. I thought about doing Blue from Fire Red and Leaf Green. All I knew is that I didn't really want to do the original Blue, just because, like, the art in Pokemon was in a very different place then. And yeah, the character design and stuff has definitely changed a lot, and one of his newer designs is something that I just felt like I would enjoy drawing more. I was really tempted to draw Blue from Pokemon Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon in the post-game, because I loved those games, but I felt like I wanted to go with a little bit more of an iconic design, so I thought that the Heart Gold and Soul Silver version would have been a great one to do. I had so much fun making this drawing. One, because I do love Pokemon, so anytime I get to draw anything Pokemon related, it's just genuinely a wonderful experience for me. But also, I'm in love with the way that this one turned out, and if you watched my last video, where A is for Axel from Kingdom Hearts, I also really liked that one, so I'm really happy with the way that this series is coming out so far. But I just really thought that, like, the pose was really suiting to him, and I feel like I've drawn him enough times to really be able to capture his personality within a pose. And also I thought that I would include the Eevee, because Eevee kind of unintentionally became his staple Pokemon, at least in the fandom. I don't think he really uses one in canon all too often, but in Pokemon Yellow, where you get Pikachu, he always gets an Eevee for his starter, so I guess that's kind of where it stemmed from. But I thought that including Eevee would make the drawing a little bit more interesting, but also include the B, because like I was saying in the Axel video, drawing with waffles would always include, or at least most of the time, include the letter that she was on in the illustration, so I really wanted to do that, but I wanted to make them all look a little bit more cohesive, since they are going to be varying in like color scheme and shading styles probably, so I wanted to keep the letters themselves in a similar style. But I couldn't really come up with a good way to incorporate it with Blue himself, so I thought that having his Eevee playing around with it would be a cute little thing to do. I think the most difficult part drawing Blue is his hair. The way that the hair in Pokemon trainers are, it's usually like more blocky, I guess. Like when I draw my hair, I really divide it up into like different sections and different shapes, and then I build off of that to make it look like hair. But a lot of Pokemon characters have their hair as just shapes, which is fine. It's not really like one is better than the other, it's just really a stylistic choice. There's a cat scratching at my door. One isn't really better than the other, it's just a difference in style, and mine is definitely a lot different from the Pokemon style, so I had a really hard time trying to figure out how to draw his hair in my style, because I'll put a picture of him up now. In his official art, his hair is just like a spiky shape, and so I had a really hard time trying to figure out how to part it and like make the different chunks of his hair, but I think I did a pretty good job with it overall. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm also really happy with the color scheme, as you could probably guess, because you're also watching this video, and also his name. I shaded with blue, because of course I did. I thought about adding some green in this illustration, because in the Japanese versions, his name is Green, which is a whole thing I don't even think I'm going to get into now. So it'll just confuse a lot of people, but in some places his name is Green. Alright, in America his name is generally Blue, so I shaded with blue, and I did color overlays that are like blue and then like a purple. I didn't want to do just blue throughout the entire thing, because I feel like adding purple just makes it pop a little bit more and just makes it have a little bit more depth, I guess. Not sure if that's quite the right word, but hopefully you guys understand what I mean. But I added a little bit of purple in the shading, and then in the highlights and overlays I added a lot more purple. And it just makes everything so much more bright and vibrant, and I think just using blue would make it, like, not really dull, but just less bright and vibrant. I don't know technical terms of art. I feel like another thing that I really struggled with is just, like, the proportions, because, again, my style is very different from the Pokemon art style. So trying to adapt his features into my style was also a challenge. Mostly with the face, I think. From what I remember, the body was fairly easy. But I don't know, something about his face just made it difficult. A lot of, like, the struggles I found was with the eyes, because even though Blue does have more narrow eyes, in general, the Pokemon art style has, like, tall eyes, and I have wide eyes. I guess that's how you can describe them. I actually had quite a bit of trouble with the face. Not even just with translating the proportions, but just making it look okay. And I think in the end I did a pretty good job, but something still seems a little bit off to me. I don't know, let me know what you guys think, but yeah, mostly with the eyes, I had a difficult time trying to make it look nice. I feel like I just had a specific expression in my head, and I had a hard time translating it onto paper. I think the feel and, like, the emotion I wanted him to convey is pretty accurate, but I don't know. The actual visuals themselves seem a little bit different from what I pictured in my head, which is fine. Like, that just happens. And it's not that this looks bad or anything, it's just, I don't know, it's different from what I originally intended. But yeah, his personality is something that I really, really wanted to capture, because when you think of Blue as a character, you probably think of how he was a huge jerk! He was a jerk to all of us when we were kids, but honestly, that's what made us really want to beat him And he's just a really cool character, so I really wanted to make sure that people who don't even really play Pokemon could look at this drawing and then get a general idea of who he is, which is important for anybody that you're drawing, but I really wanted to capture it for Blue because, again, he's just a character that means a lot to me. The original Pokemon Blue was actually my first Pokemon game that I ever played because I have an uncle and a cousin. I don't think either of them are really into Pokemon now, but growing up they were both really into Pokemon. So because of them I just kind of got into Pokemon, and I can't remember who it was, but one of them gave me their old Game Boy and Pokemon Blue, and to this day I do not know where it is, and I'm really mad about it because I want to play it. But yeah, that was my original journey into Pokemon. At 5 years old, I was playing Pokemon. I could barely read, but I was having a blast. Also, because of that, Squirtle is one of my favorite Pokemon. It has a little warm place in my heart. It's by no means my favorite Pokemon game. Like, honestly, Gen 1 is one of my least favorite generations. Not that it's a bad game, I just feel like there are other generations that are a lot better than it. But yeah, it has a special place in my heart. Even though I do really like the color scheme in this, I remember the color scheme was making the line art a little bit difficult because I don't really talk about my digital art process a lot because it's constantly changing. But one thing that I've been doing a lot lately and that I've been doing for a while now is the line art layer. I will make it completely black, and then I will lock the transparency and put the blending mode to multiply, and then I will color swatch any color that's underneath it and then color the line art. So like for example, I'll put the layer to multiply and all of that, and then I will go to the face, and then I drop the color that's on the face, and then on the line art layer I would color that, and since the layer is on multiply, it would make the color seem darker, and it just makes the line art blend in with the art a little bit more. But because of the color scheme in this, his skin is pretty light and his hair can be pretty light, and with the lighter colors in a drawing, sometimes this line art method can be a little bit like too subtle, I guess. And if that's what you're going for in your art, that's fine, but I personally like my line art to stand out just a little bit more. So I believe I set the blending mode to shade this time, which is a minor difference, but it's something that I thought would be worth mentioning just because it's different from my usual method, and I honestly didn't really know what to do, so I just that was my solution. Speaking of my digital art process though, I'm in a little bit of a crisis. That makes it sound really dramatic. But I've talked about it before, digital art isn't something that I'm entirely confident in. I don't think my digital art is bad by any means. Like I said earlier, my process is always changing, and digital art is something that's still fairly new in my life. I have been drawing traditionally for as long as I can remember, and there wasn't really a time in my life where I started taking art more seriously. Ever since I was a little kid, I've just always liked drawing all of the time. That being said, I didn't get access to digital art until I was about 16 or 17. I can't quite remember which one, but it was around that general age, and currently I am 19. So digital art is still something that's pretty new to me, and I'm still learning the ins and outs. I wouldn't consider myself a professional in digital art at all, so my process is always changing, specifically with the shading, because if you've seen my traditional art, a lot of my shading is a little bit more intricate and there's a lot more blending and that sort of stuff, but with digital art, I'm struggling to find something that works with my style in digital art. I'm getting there and I'm being able to like blend my shading a little bit more and have it look nice, but my digital shading and my traditional shading are definitely very different. And so in this drawing, I was really struggling with like making it blended or not blended because I've done both. Actually, recently I was able to make a picture that has a lot of like almost a painterly style to it, but normally my digital art isn't like that. But since that was what I was just coming off of when I was filming this, I was in a weird place where like I feel like I just kept bouncing back and forth between them. In the end, I think it looks nice, but that was something that I was definitely struggling with throughout it, and throughout different parts of shading it, my mind was in different places. So like for example, when I was shading the hair, I was in more of like painterly blendy shading thing, that's the technical term. And then when I was shading the jacket, I was a little bit more just like harsh shading. I don't know what that shading is called, but that's what I was doing. And I definitely kept like bouncing back and forth between it, but I think in the end I was able to make the shading look a little bit more cohesive throughout the entire piece. At least I hope I did. Then shading Eevee was also a little bit of a struggle because Eevee is furry fluffball. And shading fur is something that I'm still struggling with in my style. I don't draw animals too often, so I don't draw fur that often. And so when I do, I don't really know how to shade or highlight it. I feel like I can sketch something and make it look fluffy, but when it comes to shading and making it actually look like three-dimensional fur as fur tends to be. I still haven't quite figured out how to do that. I think I'm just kind of taking baby steps and easing myself into it. I think that you can tell that it's fur, but I definitely want to be able to shape things and make it look a little bit more fluffy, I guess. If there's one thing that I could change about this drawing, I think it might be the highlights. Because, I don't know, I feel like whenever I shade with a color, which I normally do digitally, like I'll shade with like a purple or something, and then I'll use those same colors in the highlights, but I'll just set the blending mode on the layer to a different blending mode. So like for shade, I'll usually do multiply, and then for highlights, I'll usually do luminosity, I believe it's called. And then I'll just use the same color, but because of the different blending modes, they look like they're different colors. And I feel like I should have picked a different color, because I did add purple in the highlights, which did make it look more bright. But I feel like blue is just too dark of a color or too cool of a color to really be used as a highlight. It can definitely work, but I just feel like for this drawing it would have benefited a little bit more if I did more purples or pinks or something like that. I don't think I would want to go quite down the yellow route because I did want to keep the color scheme overall cool, which is why I added purples like in the shading and stuff. But yeah, I just think adding a little bit more purple would have helped it out a lot. But again, overall, I am really happy with this piece. It's honestly another one of my favorite digital art pieces that I've made. I don't want anyone to take that as me like saying that it sucks, because I know I can be kind of self-critical, but I think it's important to be self-critical, and I'm trying to add more positive stuff. But I don't want anyone to take that as me saying that this drawing sucks, because I don't think it sucks. Anyways, we are nearing the end of the video now, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked this drawing as much as I do. Let me know what you thought. Also, let me know about the face, because I'm still a little on the face. Any critiques would be definitely helpful for the future. Yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know what you think about Blue, or just Pokemon in general. We can all be nerds together if you leave your comments down below, so that'd be really fun. And also, let me know a character that you like that starts with the letter B, and also feel free to guess what the next letter will be. I don't know when the next video of the series is going to be out, but I already have the character planned out, and I'm really excited about it. So give this video a thumbs up if you want to see that, and keep an eye out for that by subscribing. If you are new here, I post art videos every single week. Well, sometimes in the week it's not art video, but I do post videos every single week. So subscribe if you want to see more of my art, because I would really appreciate it. And you can also follow me on any social media that will be on screen now, and also linked in the description box below. I am most active on Instagram, so if you have an Instagram, I would recommend following me there, because that is where I post my art. But if you're just interested in seeing me as a person or blogging stupid memes and crap, then follow me on anything else. And there's a video on screen now, as well as an iCard for you to check out if you're interested in any of that. Thank you for watching, and thank you for doing all that other stuff if you've done all of that. And I will hopefully see you next week. Bye.